All right, let's go ahead and do a slightly more complicated example of solving an absolute value equation. So let's say we want to solve the equation -2 times the absolute value of 4x minus 7 and then plus 11 equals -9. Now, if you saw the example 1 video, you might be tempted to say, well, hey, there's no solution because all this stuff equals -9. But we want to be more careful than that because what we said in example 1 was that if you have the absolute value of a bunch of stuff equals a negative number, then there's no solution. But what we have here is more complicated than that because we have a -2 out here and we have this plus 11 here. So this is not quite the same situation as example 1. Okay, so now in general, if we have something more complicated like this, what we want to do is simplify the equation so that the absolute value is by itself on one side. So we have to treat the absolute value as one whole piece, which really it is. So we just have to get the absolute value by itself without the -2, without the plus 11, all by itself on one side. So let's go ahead and do that. The very first thing that we do then is subtract 11 from both sides. So then what we get is -2 times the absolute value of 4x minus 7. And then if we subtract 11 from both sides, then we get -20 on the right-hand side. Now we divide both sides by -2, and that's actually good, depending on how you look at it, because there's a solution. There will be a solution now, but it's more work for us. So then we have the absolute value of 4x minus 7 equals -20 divided by -2 is positive 10. Okay, so now this is really just like example 2, but with different numbers. So what we have now is the the absolute value of 4x minus 7 equals 10. So we just split this up into two equations. So one is going to be 4x minus 7 equals positive 10. The other one is 4x minus 7 equals -10. If you're wondering why we're doing that, we did explain that in the second example video, so you can go ahead and watch that if you like, if you haven't already. So now we just solve each equation separately. So add 7 to both sides here. 4x minus 7 equals 10. If we add 7, we get 4x equals 17. Now we divide both sides by 4, and we get x equals 17 over 4. So that's one solution that we get from here. And here, what do we do here? Well, same thing. Add 7 to both sides. So 4x minus 7 equals -10. We get 4x equals -10 plus 7 is -3. Now we divide both sides by 4, and we get x equals -3 over 4. Now we should be thorough and verify that both of these solutions work, and in the interest of saving time and keeping the video short, we won't go through that here, but I do encourage you to go through that as an exercise. And both of these numbers do in fact work. So if you plug 17 over 4 to the original equation, everything will work. And if you plug -3 over 4 into the original equation, everything will work. So the solutions then are x equals positive 17 over 4 and -3 over 4.